Bradleyboy.
Jake, how are you? I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
What's going on?
You know, bit of this, a bit of that.
Happy to have you here at the bunker.
Oh, it's awesome to be here at the bunker. It's got a lot of history here, man.
I want to talk about that because this place is such a historic thing.
Yeah, they're talking about this as historical. That's hysterical. That's what you would say.
Hysterical. And not to age you, but you've been here since the beginning. You've known this area for years.
Yep. Yes, I have.
So
Yep.
I understand, grew up in Scarborough.
Yep.
When did you come out to the Bonneville, Clarington, Durham area?
I first, in 96, moved from Scarborough to Mitchell's Corners, actually. So that was Taunton and Charles Road, on a 3/4 acre lot, a little bungalow there. And, wanted my kids to kind of have that, like there's a little church up in the hill, so they get part of the farm community, and just to get that part of country in them. Country's kind of always been in me, even though I'm a mainland child. Is my dad's from PEI. So we have a family farm that's been in our family for 4 generations that we got in PEI. So I guess it's always kind of been in my blood that I want to live in the country. So, and then getting the kids out there, and then first at Mitchell's Corners, and then I had friends that were living in Orono, found what was the Peace House, and bought that in 2002. Knew when I walked in the door, I said, I can create music here. I took a jump off of being an iron worker 24/7, which was what I was basically doing, and always been writing since I was a kid, since I was like 14 years old, and writing songs. And I thought, and raising kids, did all this and that. I like to just write and record. So there was the house, the scene that was happening at that time, going to Elvis is like 2002. What was going on in Oshawa, what was going on in Bowmanville, what was going on in Peterborough. Like, there's just a lot of like great music that was
the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, yeah, it was really nice. And I just thought to be, to have the house to record local artists live off the floor, get back to just that guttural, raw music creating. You know what I mean? Just creating music, not like, because in the 70s and 80s, I wrote with a dear friend of mine. We've been writing for years to the R&B and rock and going in the studios and 24 tracks and isolating everything. And I just thought, I just wanted to get back to just the basics, just have a good room, like it, and just hear a good song, Because that was the thing when I was recording back then. I listened back and I go, what happened to that song that I wrote in my fucking bedroom? And that doesn't sound like the same song. It just sounds, and and to each their own. Like, some people really like that. They like the technical aspect of it, the isolation, the sound, the crispness, this and that. But for me, sometimes I just love the just rawness of just that moment, and being a songwriter, when that spark happens and you get that inspiration, you want to record it in that freaking moment, because that is going to be the purest of that moment then and there. And I just got in, and there's not enough RAM inside your head to hang on to all these songs for years, and I'm going to record them someday or this or that. It's just thought, I just gotta record them. And, some people are like, oh, it's pretty lo-fi, and who cares? You know what I mean? The moment and that energy is captured in that moment. And, so that's where I came out this area, and then coming here and getting to know Huck, who was a bass player. He was a drummer also, but I knew him as being an upright bass player, and just awesome guy. And playing with Huck, he played bass on my first self-titled Bradleyboy record in 2004, and then also on Bottle Collection in 2005. And we would just come to the house. We'd run through the songs, and we'd record 18 songs in one day.
It's that magic.
It was just in the moment. It was just, you have your songs, and you make sure you give it your 110% when you're playing your song, so those people can gather. And that was one of the things from Huck that he always said to me. He goes, I play with lots of people, and he goes, the thing is with you is that you give 110%. So we've got 110% to draw from. If somebody comes in with a song and they've got 30% into it, they're going to get 30% in the way of, so it's it's always the kind of marker that I kind of have with things, and when it comes to writing and when it comes to playing and the different projects I've done and bringing people together to, whether it's Billard Blossom, Derby Melvin, Kent Boys, doing my own thing, doing my one-man band stuff. It's just like music, when it comes to writing, there's no fixed address of how I'm going to present it. But once I start getting into a certain vibe of something, then I start to think, okay, this would be really good, just with me doing it as a one-man band, or, hey, man, this would be good in a country element with a pedal steel player and this thing and that thing. Oh, I want this is blues trash. I want a bass player just playing out of his own big muff. And it's just a wall of just grungy sound. It's like, Black Sabbath meets ZZ Top. You know what I mean? It's just, but I think that's the fun thing about music is I like to explore all different. I'm a music lover, so I don't like to stay with one thing. I like to do a lot of different things. I think that's what keeps you youthful in it.
Well, and that's what perfectly.
If not that's the right word, but
absolutely, and it perfectly. The way I have described you in the past and describe you now is you are a pure artist. And what I mean by that, what I mean by that is you look at artists like Neil Young, you look at artists like Tom Waits, you look at these artists, they write because they have to. It's not because I
don't have a choice.
No, you don't have a choice. This is what I'm feeling at this moment. I'm bluesy at this time. I'm this and that. And the way, if I was to pick two words to describe you, besides handsome. Besides handsome. No, if I was to pick two words, I had to throw the compliment in there. If I had to pick two words.
You're a handsome fella too.
Oh, thank you, Brad. 2 words to describe you.
Yeah.
That what I would say is character and power. And what I mean by that is music nowadays lacks those characters. The ones we listened to growing up. Yeah. Howlin' Wolf, Ozzy Osbourne, these characters, David Bowie, whoever, these characters who were, that's like, you didn't know a thing about them. All you wanted to know is like, I want to watch these people eat breakfast.
It's the characters.
It's the characters and the everything. And then the power, you can see it from watching your performance tonight. It comes from so deep within. And it's like Tom Waits and guys like that guttural, real power to your voice and your playing. Like when you were growing up, I want to know what drew you to that music. Like because we all have that story of like, we learn how to play guitar and blah, blah, blah. We learn how to sing and all this stuff. But what was the moment where it like, shit, this was it. This is what drew me to it. This is what sucked me in.
I think as when I was like 9, so my older brother played guitar. So this would have been 1969. So, this is the experience with my brother hanging out in my older brother hanging out in his room. Bong being in the middle of the room. That's the first time I heard Led Zeppelin, first time I heard Black Sabbath. But he had a band. They were called Fred Incorporated. So, and the guitar player, Mike Rapton, was a animator. So he created this whole Fred character, and actually, it's like Mr. Gazoo, but on acid. So it's just like bigger, exaggerated freaking head. So Fred Incorporated, and they played down in the basement at the house, and their song was playing them's Gloria with Van Morrison, Gloria, Glora, Gloria. So that really, like, for me, really, that sparked music. My dad being from PEI, Stompin' Tom was like a constant in our room. We always had boarders from PEI that would come stay at the house. And there's one guy, Carl Boylan, came into the house there. He could play guitar. My dad would literally get neighbors would all come to the house, and there would be Carl Boylan. We'd be playing in our living room. And it was just like, and this was awesome. Like when it came to Stompin' Tom, like my dad, he called us. He called my mom and said, "Get all the kids in the living room. I'm bringing home a surprise for the whole family." And we're all thinking, "Okay, we're going to get rid of the old black and white Viking. Is Dad going to actually bring home a colored TV?" So we're sitting there waiting patiently because this is a big thing. Dad's bringing something home big for the whole family. And we're all sitting on the couch, and then we hear a car pull up there, and I looked outside, and it's a cab. I don't know. He's got to have a color TV in the cab. But anyway, run back to the seat and sitting there in the seat. So my dad comes walking into the living room, and he's got this square bag underneath his arm. And I think, well, that's not a TV set. And he pulled it out, and it was Stompin' Tom's Bud the Spud record. And so we had to sit down and listen to both sides of the record with the old man. And so that was on my dad's side, and my mom, Engelbert Humperdinck, Tom Jones, frickin' Frank Sinatra, this thing, that thing. Voices. So, yeah. And so with having that kind of music infusion, then it was kind of going, I knew as a kid that I was aware, you know what I mean? Even when I was like, as far as I can remember. I've always been a runner. Like I ran away from home when I was 3. Klaus brought me home, and I do it regular. My brothers would be in the freaking schoolyard and just like, "Who's that naked kid running through the yard?" "Oh yeah, that's my little brother." You know what I mean? But so this is kind of like the foundation that kind of brought me, the inspiration. Like, and when I got it, I didn't finally start. My brother didn't want to teach me guitar when I was 9 years old. He said, "Yeah, I don't got no time for you." We went up moving up around Birch Mountain, Eglinton area, in Scarborough. And there was like a little music place. There was for guitar lessons called All Those and Sarah's Music. So I went up getting lessons. This when I was 12. I took 2 lessons. And once they gave me the Alfred basic music and had the chord chart in the back.
Yeah, of course.
That was all I needed. I just wanted the chords. I didn't want to sit there and play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Claire de Lune and all this other stuff. Wound up I had this nice 1966 Mustang guitar, Fender Mustang. So then I headed from there, and then learning stuff from the song composition from like Beatles, Rolling Stones, and later on then Led Zeppelin, all the multiple tunings and Aerosmith into the 70s, and just like it's been really a nice ride as a human being and as a writer to be amidst these moments that are happening, to grow up in the era that I did, and then to watch things evolve, and then you get into 80s, the new wave, this and that, what's going on in the 90s, you get your grunge, you get, and as just watching music evolve and always kind of paying attention to that. I mean, it's the beauty of YouTube. You can listen to something and all of a sudden you see a bunch of other, other things you could listen to, and you catch those people and you catch those moments, and always loved the root of things. Always liked going to the root of things. That's where when we had the place in Orno recording live off the floor, just like old school bluegrass, old school country, old school blues. Like get to the root, and then you could do whatever you want with it, but really understand the root, and then it's a blank canvas. You can put whatever colors and shapes, and I love cross pollination of punk and bluegrass or this and that thing. Like just put a spin on it, make it different, don't be just be a mockingbird. That takes something, and then where does that actually take you? Like give it your own interpretation, right? Because everything's in interpretation, and enjoy it, and fun. And music is art, so have fun with it. Just play with it.
Well, and I want to talk about the Peace House a little bit, and well, I mean, I could spend days talking about the Peace House, but I think this is a real common theme in music where you see that generational passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Where and like I remember, and I'll just tell one story about myself and my buddy Jake riding our bikes up Main Street, Orno, as we did as kids, and seeing the Peace House and hearing music coming out of those windows on a July, August afternoon, and we could just hear it, and biking by and sitting out front and just listening. And, you know, as a kid, and you think of all those, like you look at like Sun Records, and you look at, you know, Hitsville, USA, and in Detroit, and all these places. You look at that passing of the torch, and, you know, you talk about your dad showing you music, and you passing it on. Like, what makes a good community in music?
I think if anything, you just, it's no different when I first moved to Orono, and, you know, when I created Red Room Recording, and I put the sign up to the side of the house there, you know, Red Room Recordings, live off the floor. You know, watching my neighbor across the way watching me put this sign up and putting a sign going, what the hell is going on here? And then, you know, all the people that came through our door, and like our kids, like Jude and I are a blended family. So we have 7. So with all those kids being in the house, but also growing up with, there's, you know, traveling musicians sleeping on the couch, or, you know, there's a recording session of a band from Montreal that are recording, or this is going on, or a video shoot is happening in the house, or, you know, it was always a constant, but the house was about creation, like, and all our kids, like, their memories of that, like hearing me wake up at 3:00 in the morning and recording a song down in the Red Room, because I could do that. I could literally have a song in my head in the middle of the night and just go down the steps and record it. You know, and that's, so creation, live, love, and create. I think that was the big thing. And so in a community, when that vibration starts to happen, I think it really, it was a reflection of what was going on at the time. Like, you had with the Elvis, and you had the Village Inn, like, open mics going at the Legato. There's even the open mics of us going down in Newcastle at the Brig, you know, or playing up in Peterborough, the Montreal House, or the Red Dog, or the Pigs here, or, you know what I mean? It was just, it was a really cool scene. So I think if anything in Orono, was just like a further microphone, just putting it out there. That, pushing that. You know, this is what's going on. Like, having artists come play at the house, that I said to people, like, you got to come see these people, because there's going to be a day where you're going to be paying a lot of money to go see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people that we had record at the house, and like I've got all those recordings. Again, it's all just beautiful recordings that I have of that, and then creating that community now, like where we're living now, which is out in Burnley, which is just outside of Workworth. It's the same thing. I like that we moved out there. I built a house out there on the beautiful country property, and now we're just thinking it'd be nice to bring music to this new space that we have. Like, you know, when I got the old Red Room piano back from Jonas had it for a while at his studio, and and just bring, because music and creating is in all mediums is just imperative. That's the food. I mean, there's jobs you can go work and you make money and doing this and doing that, but what's feeding you? What's feeding you here? You need to be fed here.
The amount of artists who came through your place and who were fed, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Were fed.
Yeah.
You know, and who realized, oh shit, I just need to go to the Red Room.
Yeah.
Even if you're just going to listen to a band. I remember that.
And keeping that alive, right? And then having conversations with other songwriters and people that, you know, like you and I were talking earlier. It's just like, I have so many good friends that are fucking awesome musicians, but when it comes to writing, they have their block with it, because they over criticize during creation. The whole thing when it comes to creating is like a tap, and once you turn it on, you need to leave it on. Don't start editing right away. You know, if you feel something come on, let it be, and go through it. Whatever blurts out of your mouth, whatever you're going to do, don't start editing right away. Edit later. Let the feeling get through you. Don't start thinking about it. It's no different in life, right? If you start thinking about it way too much, you're not going to do anything. You're gonna talk yourself out of it. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You just got to let it fucking flow, man, and deal with it as it comes. If your intent is good, it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And that goes for young songwriters, old song. It doesn't matter. It goes for everybody.
Exactly. Don't over criticize. We're our own worst critics, man. Fuck hell, if you think about that way too fucking much. God, I've recorded a fucking album and got the final mix of it and listened to it and I just go, yeah, I fucking hate it. Because I listened to it fucking 1,000 fucking times. That's why. You've been thinking about it. It's time you got to step back. Step back. You're becoming microscopic about it and you just need to step back from it and just leave it alone and come back to it with fresh eyes and fresh ears. So you got to be really careful.
Do you have anything coming up? Do you have anything that's exciting you right now that you're doing and looking forward to creating?
That's every day.
Every day.
That's every day.
Yeah.
Every day I just wake up. There's always something that I want to do and I want to be creative with. And I mean, there was things that I did that paid bills and stuff, but they were just became time suckers after a while because it doesn't matter how much money somebody's paying. You're not going to, you just gave away time. So now having time, I've got myself in a place that I can do that. And that was during the inception of Orno. And then now being that, it's like a rejuvenation again about revisiting it and basically making life totally just about creating and just living. That's the best thing. And then having a place which is just awesome here with the bunkers, having a place where people can gather to listen to music, to do what we're doing right here, man. This is the essence of life. You know what I mean? These are the real conversations. This is the stuff that, again, what I got back to before, just feeding. You know what I mean? It's feeding it. So now with the house, that's the thing. We want to bring that back. We went away from it for a while because we left Orno and then we went out where we are, built this new place. We got this beautiful place. We're living in this beautiful place. What's missing? Well, music is missing here. Really bringing that, like music's always been there because I'm always writing, but to bring that element there of gathering people, having a place where people can go to listen. Like we've just went through freaking 2.5 years of everybody just being isolated inside their own freaking heads. Now we can actually, people need people and we need to gather. We need to get together in music and conversation and real conversation, not, what Belly was talking about, comment fucking boxes and fucking social media, like standing in front of somebody and sitting with somebody, actually having a conversation, see the expression on their face, really being with that person.
You know what, man? There's no better place and beautiful place to leave it than that. And honestly, I want to thank you.
It's been awesome.
Love you to bits.
It's been great to be part of this.
And awesome. You know what? We appreciate it. And just keep doing what you're doing. Keep being the character you are. And thanks so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Jake.
Love you, man.
Right,
cheers.
Buddy.
Thank you very much.